Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is May 6th, 2018, and the most pressing and exciting news I think that we get to share with you today is Tommy Robinson's Day for Freedom. Now I'm calling it Tommy Robinson's, but it's everyone's. It's yours, it's ours. There have been so many people that showed up to this thing today.
Yeah.
It has to send a message. It has to tell these people we are sick of being silenced. We are sick of being put in a box, in a corner where nobody can find us.
Right.
Our voices will be heard. And it
Yeah.
happened in Whitehall, London.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's probably still like trickles of a crowd there.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Barry went. So maybe Michelle, check your
Barry.
Facebook. Casey's got some videos he
Okay.
wants us to put up. So we're really excited. There's a live stream here for 159 minutes. What I'm gonna do literally is we're just gonna jump to some sections because Milo spoke. They had Stephen Molyneux on the big screen. Tommy Robinson finished it up. Raheem from Breitbart was there. Anne-Marie Waters was there.
Move this camera a little bit.
Anne-Marie put aside her difference with Gavin McGinnis. Gavin McGinnis was there. If you recall, we had a little bit of I had a little bit of a online disagreement with Anne-Marie Waters on Twitter over Ann Coulter, as she didn't want to have anything to do with people who she deemed to be anti-feminist. And she mentioned Gavin McGinnis as one of those, but she did put aside her differences to go to this Day for Freedom. So hats off to Anne-Marie Waters because we love you. And so without further ado, let's check out some of this footage because it's quite exciting. I guess Germany was bringing in some Antifa. I think there was other Antifa that were supposed to show up. From what I'm seeing, I didn't see anything violent going down.
Right.
I went through Twitter. We're going to see a lot more tomorrow. What happens is when you're at one of these events, and this just happened, you have all your footage on your phone and on your camera, and then you go home and you sit down and you upload pictures and you put them on Facebook. So we'll have more to bring to you,
right?
Obviously, but this is the best. This is the official live stream that they had a young woman put together. She shows us in the beginning the protesters first.
Hey guys, so basically Antifa already showed up, but nobody really cares. They're quite a small group. I just wanted to show you because we're starting basically in 5 minutes. So just to come on for just a few minutes to show you one more time what's going on at the back stage. So you have this first-hand access, and then I'm going to be streaming the event as well. So this is just going to be a very long stream, this one.
It will be. It is a long stream. So let me get... So what I want to do is go ahead and just get to some of the speeches.
Of the free nations of the world defending freedom, we even have an EU flag. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Free speech, he's allowed
Raheem
to
from
be
Breitbart,
pro
London. Raheem
European
Kassim.
Union. That's okay, he's wrong, but it's okay. By the way, how about Brexit?
I love it.
We are leaving!
He held Nigel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lisa, we are leaving! Alright guys, it's hot, it's hot.
So I love that they got a stage, that this is a real event. This isn't just
fantastic.
some people,
speaker,
at Speaker's Corner.
This guy
This is
who put his own
beautiful.
life on the line for this country and for what this country represents. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Eman. Good afternoon, London. I've been looking at something that's been happening behind us, and I think somebody just turned up the heat. It's a sunny day, and the temperature's getting turned up politically as well, and that's why we're here. It's a song written several years ago, and I hope it's going to be sung later on today. The first line of that song said this: "Give up the words to change a nation, but you're biting your tongue." We're not going to bite our tongues anymore. We're not going to be silenced anymore. See, we are the silent majority. And the people that tried to close us down earlier on, the people that tried to silence us, they are fascists because they hate freedom of speech, and we're patriots because we love freedom of speech.
This is a passion speaker.
I walked down from Speaker's Corner with $1,000 there, and we had a banner, and our banner said this: we are here to defend your freedom of speech, and the DFLA and the Veterans Against Terrorism are here to defend your freedom of speech. And here we stand. We can do no other. I want to tell you a very quick story about freedom of speech. In Belfast a few years ago, there was a 78-year-old minister of religion, and he preached a sermon that was very critical of the Islamic religion. And in that sermon, this man said this. He said, Islam is heathen. He says Islam is satanic. He said Islam is a religion spawned in hell. Friends, that is freedom of speech, and that man had the right to say it. But for that sermon, that man was dragged before the courts. He was 78 years old. He was suffering from cancer, and his wife was suffering from dementia. Now, thankfully, he was found not guilty of the false hate crime that he was supposed to have preached. But you know something about that man? He stood his ground. He didn't bow. He didn't bend. He didn't surrender. And we mustn't surrender freedom of speech either.
I am moved right now.
Friends,
No,
this is the
it's
first freedom
absolutely
march. And I
incredible.
want to tell you something. It's going to be the first of many.
On Facebook Live, Heather says that silence is consent, and it's true. It's very true.
Yes, I am that old. 32 years ago I joined the British Army, and when I joined the British Army, I joined to defend your rights to freedom.
Wow.
Hats off, sir.
And all my colleagues did as well. But I didn't think that 32 years later, I would be having to stand here and defend your freedom of speech again. Well, I am, and I want to tell you something. 32 years ago, I would have died for freedom of speech. I am willing to die for freedom of speech today. And more than that, when I look into your faces, I see that you're willing to die for free speech as well.
And it's not just free speech. Free speech is freedom.
Right.
You have a communistic society that would
It
censor.
goes like this.
Right. You can't say
If you're
things.
attacked by terrorists, you don't run. You don't hide. And you don't tell. You stand. You fight. And you protect. And today we're standing for freedom of speech. We're fighting for freedom of speech, and we're protecting freedom of speech. We will never be defeated. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, I think he said more than what a lot of people would say there, and it is really important to talk about, you know, a minister who can't call out.
Yeah, and I think we covered his case before, unless there's several of them, right? Skip
A
ahead.
word about Mohammed, and they sing a free speech.
There's 2 hours of this if you're just joining us, so we can't cover it all, or we
And
would.
we have sent one that was called Political down the road.
So I'm going to get to some of
What's that, Anne-Marie?
Yeah.
There's
The
Raheem again.
next speaker is the leader
So is he kind of like the
of
MC?
the For Britain Party. It's Anne-Marie Waters.
Wow, wow. Hello, London. And look around you now. Look around you. This is your democracy right here. This is your democracy. I was thinking to myself this morning that when I was a kid, we used to say, it's a free country. Do you remember that? You don't hear that now.
Might as well, it's a free country.
Now you are far more likely to hear, you can't say that. We can say that, and we will say that.
It's so funny how, like, you know, pornography and everything sinful is
very quick
totally allowed.
lesson.
We're not going to censor that stuff, they encourage it.
Back in the 1940s, 1950s, a new world order began. Globalism was born, and the world decided that the borders of the West were to come down. The communist countries demanded hate speech laws. They demanded hate speech laws so that they could torture and imprison political opponents and silence all dissent. Now, the Western world was a very different place then, and they said no to hate speech laws. But the communists never went away. They instead began the slow march through the institutions, into our schools.
I'm going to pause that here because basically this whole thing is about a running thread of communism, right, that has gripped the globe, especially Western countries, where you literally have, as you saw in our title, a president of the EU, Jean-Claude Juncker, giving a speech celebrating Karl Marx, and they're putting up a statue for Karl Marx. In the past 100 years, no ideology has killed more people, right, than this communist ideology. This mindset of take everybody's goods, put it in a pot, and separate it. But you have to control people because eventually people begin to speak out against such things and tell the truth, and you realize that communism doesn't work in reality because you have to take away people's rights to have it.
So I'm trying to find some pictures to show you guys of the crowd. I'm not the Twitter researcher, and there's nothing on Google. They're totally censoring the Day for Freedom.
It looks like I'm about to find some more tomorrow.
But I do know that the crowd was
very big.
Huge.
Yeah.
Into our media, into our police. And then along came Islam through our open borders, and it too demanded hate speech laws, and the treacherous, traitorous Labour Party gave them their hate speech laws. Now make no mistake what the end game is here. The Islamic alliance with the communist left. The end game is to criminalise you, to criminalise me, and to imprison and punish all political dissent to the political class. That is the end game, and we have to understand that now. You have done something absolutely remarkable today. You've done something remarkable today. Keep coming out in these numbers and resist this with everything you've got. Resist it. Fight these tyrants with everything you've got. We don't have much time, but we will win. And we'll win by doing one thing and one thing only: telling the truth. Tell it like you see it. And no matter how controversial it might be, no matter how offensive it might be, you can save your country if you say it like you see it, and only that way, only by by telling the truth can we save this country. And I have never seen a crowd this size out there telling that lot that you want your freedom of speech back and you're going to get it.
I had goosebumps. I have goosebumps from the top of my head. I mean, seriously.
If you're not standing out there, there is no point in us standing up here. You are all heroes. You are all heroes. You are brave and you're patriotic and you're willing to stand up for what is right. Congratulations to you all.
So I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead here.
Well, hang on. I do have a little bit of a shot. Justin Hughes had sent to me. He said that it shows the massive turnout. Oh, wow. Let me pause that right there.
Justin.
Oh, my gosh. That is... I love it. All right, so I just wanted to give that. I wanted to give you guys an idea of the crowd. So carry on.
Okay, carry on.
Was it too loud? Sorry if it was too loud. There.
All right.
Just a park where people talk. I remember going there as a kid, and I to bring their A game.
They're gonna. So this is Sargon of Akkad. If you don't follow him on YouTube, he's one of these really awesome truth tellers. He's got a huge YouTube channel. It's been censored over and over and over again. I think he's been taken off of Twitter for telling the truth.
Yeah. Hi, Sydney.
Looks like they're playing him a Scottish tune.
The police had tipped off to the exact date and time of my arrest so that they could get...
Scottish, obviously, so they had to bring out the bagpipes. I just have to say that I do believe that the Scottish accent is my favorite accent in the entire world.
It's pretty intense.
Photographs of this PR stunt.
Photographs.
Wait, I'm sorry. Scratch that. This is not Sargon of Akkad. This is Count Dracula. I'm sorry for getting the two mixed up. They look a lot alike. They act a lot alike. This is Count Dracula.
The one with the dog that did
the dog that did the Nazi salute.
Right. And he almost got thrown in jail.
Yeah.
I was taken to jail, held overnight for court the next day. I was then released to await my trial. My trial would go on for 2 years. Twice as long as the actual Nuremberg trials. During these 2 years, I lost several jobs. I was defamed by the press. I've received threats of violence, and I've had to constantly put up with the press and members of the public lying about who I am and what I actually believe in. While at the same time, throughout those 2 years, trying to comfort my girlfriend and mother, who were terrified that I was going to prison. And me and my family had to go through all of that for 2 years because I made a joke. For the entirety of my trial, the prosecution tried their hardest to find the evidence of me being a Nazi, a racist, or a white supremacist, and in the end, they found absolutely nothing.
And here's the thing, though. You can't be jailed for being a Nazi or a white supremacist. I don't agree with you, but you can actually hold ideas and not be put in jail because you have even racist ideas. Actually,
after World War II, here in the United States, I think you could have been right after World War II, but we don't. That's not a thing right now. I mean, we've got Lucy and Desi.
Okay. A Nazi soldier versus.
Well, no, I just mean if you held communistic views. Right after World War II, they would come after you. I mean, like I said, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz were
the McCarthyism.
You know, so but that's not where we live right now, and I don't even think that was right at the time. I don't think that they should have.
No,
been doing that.
You can't have if somebody is literally a soldier for ISIS. What's backwards about this is that both London and Canada are trying to bring back ISIS members who truly are warriors.
Exactly.
And integrate them back in. Whereas I don't agree. I think it was a joke and poor taste. I don't want to repeat it. I find it offensive. However, it's not a jailable offense.
So
Because
Cecilia Gal doesn't know. Maybe some people don't know. This man trained his pug,
his wife's pug, I think.
his whatever, to do a Nazi salute.
I don't want to really repeat it. It's kind of disgusting. But it was a joke, and it was meant to, he said, gas the Jews. And then the pug would fall over. But you shouldn't be, you can't be put in jail for saying that. Right, exactly.
I don't care. You could say, whatever, gas the whoever's, okay? Right. You can't be put in jail
or even
fined, for that.
Or even fined for saying something like that.
Like, I think of, child molestation is one of, to me, the worst things on the planet. But if somebody were to make jokes about sexually molesting a little child, maybe they should be investigated a little bit, but you can't be put in jail just for making a joke. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there are people out there who tell people, I think you should lock up child molesters. I mean, they are literally people who are attracted to children. But anyways, that's his crime.
No evidence whatsoever of
no evidence
of a white supremacist was submitted by the prosecution, because absolutely none existed. So the only path that they could go down was to assume the thoughts that I had in my head when I made the video. The courts decided what my thoughts were and presented their decision to the public as fact, when it's obviously completely untrue. I'm amazed that more people aren't concerned that the courts now have the ability to overrule the reality of what your thoughts are, replace it with their own interpretation, and then convict you over the interpretation that they gave you.
So that's what this is all about.
I don't know if you can understand what he's saying because his accent is so thick.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is they're interpreting your thoughts.
Right.
Like outside of your head. Like, Leah, I can read your thoughts.
Right.
And this is what your thoughts are saying. And
right.
now I'm going to convict you and put you into jail because of the thoughts that they projected, or assumed.
Exactly. So Count Dacula, that is Dankula, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
And here is Sargon of Akkad, the guy I thought he was for a second. Coming up here next.
Count Dacula. Hey. Now we've got Sargon of Akkad. Sargon is a liberal, but he's called a fascist. Sargon is causing a revolution within the universities. That's very supportive. Come on, mate.
Yeah, he's very liberal in his views. He just calls things like he sees them.
Now the people in the chat are telling me that he's kind of against Christians.
Shit.
Yeah, but he has a freedom to do that.
Right. That's the whole point.
I'm not seeing many Nazi flags. Distinct lack of swastikas. Lots of British flags, English flags, Welsh and Scottish flags, but no Nazi flags.
You'll notice this though. He's on a stage with Christians.
Yeah.
People who hold Christian values.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that Ali Dawah couldn't be up here.
And that's what makes this so important.
Yeah, I don't agree with what he stands for, but I agree with his right to say it.
I've seen him sit down with people and he's one of those people who will have an intelligent conversation and an intelligent debate.
What is freedom? It's a complicated question, but I think you can boil it down to this. Freedom means nothing if it does not include the freedom to be left alone. To be left alone to one's own devices so long as they don't interfere with others. But each of the groups that are opposing us here, they're not going to leave you alone. You've got the far left, who are basically economic totalitarians. You've got the Islamists, who are the religious totalitarians. And they're the ones who want us to shut up. Each of these groups hate British liberalism because they're totalitarian. They're totalitarian because they want to erase the distinction between the public and the private. You will not be able to get away from them because they want to make your personal life their political project.
It's true. They want to invade your personal life.
They will never leave you alone. they want your property, they want your identity, they want your immortal soul, and they have a moral compulsion pushing them on. Their consciences won't let them rest, because their belief systems will not permit tolerance of the different. How much will you concede to these tyrants? Good. Every statement they make is in opposition to your natural rights. You must believe what they believe. You must act as they act. And you must say what they say. And don't you forget it. They do not come offering freedom, because none of them are themselves free. All they can offer you is a share in their servitude.
Interesting.
Misery loves company.
Very true.
If people shackled by mental chains see those who aren't, their first compulsion is to try and impose their needs and values on you. Because, as Kanye West recently pointed out, they choose their chains. They need the safety of oppression, the abdication of moral choice, and the consequences thereof. If something terrible happens, what do they say? That wasn't real Islam. That wasn't real communism. They choose their chains because they are weak. They are afraid of differences.
And that is so true. When you think about communists, they put themselves in this communist thought. This is what this is all about, the Karl Marxism, the religion of atheism, the religion of Karl Marx. They say they're atheists, but they're not. Their religion is this Marxist ideology, and it's satanic. And that 78-year-old man was saying, you know, Islam is satanic, and he got put in prison. But communism is satanic. Islam was not created by God. It was definitely created by the devil. It is satanic.
So I have a lot of people in the chat just kind of calling out that they don't really care for Sargon of Akkad because he is anti-Christian. Now, then somebody came back and said he's not anti-Christian, he's just not a Christian. He has said things that are, I don't believe that Christianity is beneficial to society. That being said.
Well, he wavers on that. He does talk about Western values and Christianity being...
I think that when we have somebody like Sargon of Akkad, you're seeing right before you somebody that is conflicted of the soul. Yeah. I believe that he is on the edge of probably finding the Lord. So I don't want to push people away that are speaking the truth. Okay. What this day is about freedom of speech. I don't agree with what you say, but I agree with your right to say it. And so we have to be able to join hands, and this is where we often join hands with the left, because on this exact same issue and others like it, where if we keep doing this nitpicky thing, I see, and we're going to show Lauren Southern here in a bit, I think, but I see all of this stuff happening on Twitter where you got Ben Shapiro and Alex Jones, you got all this division within the movement that is truth. And that is going to end up tearing down the EU and globalism and things like that. So within ourselves, if we continue to bicker and tear each other apart, we're never going to be strong and we're never going to be united. We have to, and this is hard for me to say, but I'm being honest here. We have to be able to put aside our differences for now. We can deal with the left versus the right versus whatever. You know, we can do all of that later. And the people that I like the most sound-minded people are the people that have that opinion, that say, you know what, I don't care that we don't agree on XYZ. Let's have a conversation so that we can get rid of the people that are really and truly evil.
So we have two common enemies. We have the Islamists and we have the globalists, the globalist atheist communists. I mean, these are the two main ideologies that are destroying the world, taking over the world. And so what you do is when you have World War II, you have these countries that band together. They don't necessarily agree. You have the Allies, and then you have the Axis. You have sometimes in history, as well, I was studying Polish history, sometimes Poland would join hands with Hungary. Other times they hated each other. They hate each other's guts.
Yeah.
They fight each other.
Right.
But then when they had a common enemy, they would come together to fight.
Right.
And so we can sit down and have a conversation with somebody like Sargon of Akkad over Christianity, and we can butt heads. But at the end of the day, do I respect you and do you respect me? Yes, he absolutely respects Christians. He absolutely respects the people that he's on stage with.
Right.
He absolutely respects. They have the same. You can just bicker and fight over Christianity and is there a God and evolution and creation with people that respect you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so you see this team forming of Sargon of Akkad, Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern left the Rebel because she was upset over their pro-Israel propaganda tour that she thought that she was forced to go on. So she's a little bit an argument. So there's all these different little there's little arguments. But at the end of the day, if you're going to say that there's two teams, this is what we did with Donald Trump, right?
What team do you want to be on?
There was I literally it was like it was August and we're all putting out all this anti-Clinton stuff. And you could see there was a line drawn. There was the Hillary team and there was the Trump team. You couldn't be on. There was only two. There was no middle ground.
Yeah.
Sometimes there literally is no middle ground.
You're gonna have to pick a
And it's this leftist ideology. It's the ideology of Sargon of Akkad is not going to put you in jail for being a Christian or for saying a Christian or for saying that you don't like homosexuality.
And he's not going to kill you. He's not. I mean, so that's what we see when we're looking at.
Right.
We look at the EU. They want to jail you. Okay. We look at Islam.
They
want to kill you. That is the difference. There is an evil there that we all have to come together like the Avengers and fight it.
Exactly. So we all have different gifts. We all have different callings. We're all in different places on our journey. But do you want to stop me from being a Christian? No.
Right.
He might come against me and say, I don't like this or blah, blah, blah. But he's not going to use government authority to fine me or put me in jail.
So what is here in the chat? I just discovered that my mom gave him a wrench. Watch out. So what now has a wrench? He doesn't censor. So I'm not sure what good he's going to do as a moderator. However, it shows that we do care about him.
So what is freedom of speech, man?
He is. But we don't, and I had this conversation yesterday with him. I don't agree or I don't appreciate curse words, right? They're just not something that I like. He doesn't like Donald Trump. He still watches our show. I still watch his show.
Oops.
Okay, we have to be able to join together with people that we love and we respect, even if we don't agree with them on every issue, because it's in unity that we are going to take this machine down.
Exactly.
And that's why they want you to bicker and they want you to be divided, because united we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah, because unfortunately, Sargon of Akkad is being caught up in the same censorship that the Christians are being caught up in. And that's when everybody is like, okay, we need to join together. Sorry, I lost the... I'm gonna skip ahead.
Did you lose the audio?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I look at a Parker and I'm very excited about Canada, and they just went.
All right, here comes Gavin.
Oh, is that Gavin?
Gavin.
Right out of me. And then I was
Gavin's Catholic. He's a Christian. You have me
so I
now.
stay down here, right?
Well, no,
Boy, that's a foul mouth.
Walking around. We came with a lot of Indians in the early 70s, right? And a lot of, you'd get beat up for an accent back then, and it was our way of sort of making everyone Canadian. Within a week, you're smoking a dart and you're fucking fighting during hockey.
Sorry, he has a bad mouth, I gotta tell you.
Going to the fucking DOA.
Sargon didn't cuss, did he?
And shit.
How about that?
Under your arm. And then...
Leave it to the atheists not to say swear words.
I went to America in the 90s. Yeah. Boo. Boo it up. Oh, Uhuru. That's different. That is the Zimbabwean word for freedom, I believe. So then we're in America. And I've had a pretty good run here in the Western world, in Scotland, and England, and Canada, and America. And I look back now and I think, what's happened to my culture? What happened to the West? We got a guy up here from Scotland who is arrested for teaching a pug to Sieg Heil. That's a fucking joke.
Sorry for the first words.
And he likes to talk about how it's about context and everything. Fuck context. You can teach your dog to Sieg Heil, I don't care. It's none of my business. You know, for context, the beauty of Speaker's Corner is you just dig up the muck.
I love you, Gavin. I really do like Gavin, but if he looks like he brought his swear words in his pocket today.
The UK government, in its infinite wisdom...
Okay, this is a really big deal to have Lauren Southern. There's some things I don't agree with her on. For, you know, the methods that she has that I don't necessarily like. But...
she's banned from the UK, and I love that they made her larger than stinking life. You know what? You can't have little Lauren, you're going to get big Lauren.
So, if you guys don't know...
I mean, I love that they did
we told you guys this on Friday, but Lauren literally was banned because she was supposed to go to interview Tommy Robinson, and on her previous visit, she had handed out in front of a mosque pamphlets that said Muhammad is gay.
Did it say, or is Muhammad gay? Or
is Muhammad gay? Was
something
Muhammad
like
gay?
I think it was more like a question.
Yeah. Okay. And then here's the thing, and we talk about this all the time. If he was in front of a church, she was in front of a church,
and had handed out pamphlets,
was Jesus gay,
and that probably happens a lot.
She would still be, she'd be allowed to go into the UK.
Right.
So that's what this is all about. And the fact that she's on this jumbotron and not in the country shows that there's a big issue, and that's why Sargon of Akkad is on our side.
Right.
Because he's like, why is she banned? You know, it's stupid.
Has decided that my presence is not conducive to the public good. Why do they say this? Well, this is because I handed out flyers a few months ago in Luton claiming that Allah is gay. I did this because the media and the establishment assured me that Islam was just like any other religion in the West.
Right.
And rather than accepting that theory uncritically, I decided to test it. You see, the one thing that almost all religions in the West have in common is an ability to cope with the sneers and the mockery of an increasingly secular culture. And this is not an endorsement of that mockery, but rather a badge of honor for these religions who uphold freedom of speech. It shows their compatibility with a society founded on the values of debate and free thought. They have all had their idols mocked, and they have learned to roll with the punches. But not Islam. All religions are equal, but it seems some religions are more equal than others. While Christianity can be spat on, mocked, and ridiculed, the UK government derives hate speech laws to protect Islam. The European people keep their mouths shut because they fear another Charlie Hebdo. And our youth are bullied into submission by their educational institutions to bow to Mecca in the name of tolerance. But some ideas need to be challenged, and all ideas deserve to be ridiculed. How easy would it be to just do what we're told, to live quietly, to bow down, and to sing the slogans of the powerful, to quietly accept the paltry rewards of the obedient? But that's just not in us, is it? It's certainly not in the people who showed up today, and it is certainly not in the historical spirit and soul of this great United Kingdom. Because the spirit of the West is engulfed in a restlessness that hates submission and detests conformity, that craves conflict and yearns for infinity. Ours is a spirit of revolution, a compulsion to overturn what is established and to reshape the world. This revolutionary impulse is no longer an attribute or characteristic of the left, despite how progressives tout that it's their cornerstone to this day, but it is now one of the right, of conservatives, of libertarians, and even classical liberals. And what better word than the Latin word for a turnaround? We've gone too far down this path of insanity into a clown world that knows.
What's hilarious is that classical liberals are now conservative and conservatives are now far right.
Sure. Everything has
shifted. Literally, like Jordan Peterson is a classical liberal. He believes in some aspects of socialism and things like that. But now, like, they labeled him far right the other day.
No longer upholds
ignorance,
morality, or even reality. It's about time we spun on our heels. And so, The modern revolutionary rages against progressivism.
She got to be with Nigel
Doctrine
Farage,
has
though.
become the establishment's Bible. And with its actualization comes stagnancy and decay. We are in a unique position to witness this changing paradigm, to see that perhaps intolerance and narrow-mindedness were never inherent characteristics of the right or the left, but are instead characteristics of humans in positions of power. Power which enables us to ignore perspectives that challenge our worldview and to shut down those who try to disrupt the status quo. And as that pendulum swings back and forth, as it historically has for ages, how easy would it be for us to flatter ourselves when the winds blow in our favor? How easy would it be to forget our skepticism of established ideas and our respect for the embattled pioneer? I know that today many of us work in the process of swinging that pendulum back, but I pray that when we do, we have the maturity to remember the lessons we learned from the margins.
We are going to take this back, but we're going to take it back. But we're going to remember, people have a right to dissent. People have a right to speak out.
Yeah.
People have a right to question. Thomas Jefferson, in his letter to his nephew, said, question, if you will, the very existence of God. Now, Thomas Jefferson wasn't saying that God doesn't exist, but he was saying to think, research, have conversations with people, okay? Know your truth. Have it centered within you. If your truth is so shakable that you need to shut somebody up, then your truth is not true to you. And when it comes to Christianity, nobody can move me. I know Jesus Christ. I know he lives inside of me. Okay? So my job is to convince other people through love and through actions, right? And when I see other people doing things to hurt other people, then I stop it. But not the ability to speak out.
Yeah.
Not the ability to say things, right? All right, so we're going to move on a little bit. So, yay, Lauren.
Now, I may have been away. We've had
Milo,
to put a deposit down
Milo.
on the cheap Lamborghini. The hurricane. Can you imagine it? Yes, so hardship is relative. And to the Gizmodo and BuzzFeed reporters asking me how I go on, I will earn more this year than you will in your entire lifetime, so go fuck yourself, sweetheart.
If we can join hands with the unconventional...
Now, this is lovely, but it's also very hot, so give me a second.
Milo is one of the greatest defenders of Christianity, if you couldn't tell. But he really is.
That's all you're getting. I do need a Lamborghini, but not that much. Now, today's not really about me, like the rest of my life. Today is about you, and with that in mind, there's some serious things to say. First of all, the intrepid speakers who have come on. You've got two guys left to hear from today, and I'm going to introduce them at the end. The speakers today have been through some harrowing ordeals. They've been through really bad shit in their defense of free speech. Count Dankula, do you fucking mind?
There's a helicopter.
They've been through some really bad stuff. Convicted of mocking Nazis on the internet. Count Dankula, Tommy, who cannot go anywhere without risking being attacked. Almost everybody who you'll hear from today has risked something. I too have risked something. I flew here in economy class. I know. You don't have to tell me. Next to some corpulent, snoring mother. Gavin McInnes, fired from every company he's ever started. Even I can't claim that. Now, you've shown courage in being here. You've risked opprobrium. You've risked censure. But you're braving the ridicule and the lies. Congratulations to you. You should be proud of being here, because showing up is no mean feat in the current environment. Now, of course, none of us here is genuinely far right, or none of the speakers you're hearing from qualify as that in my book. I'm glad you weren't put off by the name-calling in the press. For instance, I, as a gay half-Jew with a black husband, am, according to BuzzFeed, the closest thing to David Duke in journalism. I would never join the KKK. Mostly, because things really don't show off your figure. And also because I'd have to get a sort of seasonal membership, since wearing white after Labor Day would get me even more ostracized from gay public life than I already am. And there's the whole I don't hate black people thing. Now, since the fake news media are here in abundance, let me address, and I hate to talk about myself, and I promise we'll get on to the good stuff in a minute, but let me address a few of the allegations, because I know it can be tough being a Milo fan sometimes. First of all, they call me an Islamophobe. Well, they couldn't be more wrong. Muslims and I have lots in common. We both think women should be never seen and never heard. We both throw massive tantrums when we don't get adequately coddled. And a Friday afternoon, I too can be found in a room full of sweaty, hairy men with my ass in the air, ululating in ecstasy.
You know what, Milo? Come on!
Less scared of them than I am amused
We didn't scream
by the
his
bad
speech.
wigs and how thin-skinned they are.
Sorry, people.
They call me anti-Semitic, despite the fact that my mother is Jewish, and the only thing that I say about the Jews is I think it's great we run everything. And that we can control the weather. I mean, look! Did you see that adorable little dreadlocked lawmaker from Chicago? He's currently in trouble because he got caught on video saying that the weather was manipulated by the Rothschilds. I wish someone had told me. What do you do? Can someone tell me, are there any Jews here? Are there any Jews? Yes, plenty of Jews. Do I just do the Doctor Strange thing and wish for it? Nobody told them I was here. If only I'd known Jews had this kind of power, I'd have made it a bit cooler today. Now, perhaps we can have the protesters rained on later, although it sounds like plenty of you have been up to that already. Now, if Britain were a free country, following the lead of Trayon White, that lawmaker in Chicago, I might spend the next few minutes speculating what other races have by way of superpowers. Fuck it, I will. Perhaps the Chinese can divide by 0. It was a math joke. None of you got it. The Japanese, they look good in everything, don't they? Whatever clothes they wear, they always seem to look fashionable and elegant, just effortless. Like Chicken Breast and Sally Burkow, they go with everything. It was a sex joke. You just didn't like that one. Black people did Wakanda. That was good. It's okay, you can laugh. My favourite tweet of all time, by the way, was from a Black Lives Matter activist who was angry that she couldn't find Wakanda on a world atlas. And she said that this was a typical example of how white oppression erases people of colour from historical narratives. It's wonderful. She hadn't been that mad since they discovered that Tutankhamun had mostly European DNA and that the rest of the pharaohs were East Asian. We was kings!
Alright, we're gonna keep on. Milo's, he's good, but he's...
Tory significant because of the... If you ask an actual white nationalist or an actual white supremacist...
Looks like Tommy's... We're gonna end with Tommy here. Looks like Tommy's was separate. Here we go. Tommy.
Right? Also, I have money!
Playing. Tommy's been meeting with some lawmakers, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Song they have for Tommy?
It's making me emotional, man.
Oh.
Stand up here and cry in a minute. Can I just say what an unbelievable feeling it is to know that I have the support. It's an immense feeling, and I know that it's such that everything they've tried, everything they're doing, everything that people sitting in there are tarnishing us, slandering us, trying to silence us. And I know by the reaction I get when I travel the country that the people are not listening to them, that the people are supporting us. The people of this country have been silenced for 20 to 30 years with the tag of racist. They have managed to silence people so they're too scared to speak up when they see things that are wrong. They're too scared to tell the truth and identify problems with an ideology and a religion in our country because they're worried about being called racist. They now realise that that tag is dead. No one cares anymore when we're being labelled as a racist. So they've now introduced their new term, hate speech.
Hate speech.
What is hate speech?
Anything that other people don't like.
There's a 16-year-old boy somewhere in here. I'm going to interview him next week. He went to Speaker's Corner and he debated Ali Dawah. And he stated facts about Islam. He was visited last week by counter-terrorism officials.
Oh yes, the counter-terrorism officials. 16 years old stating facts about Islam.
His mother was in pieces, crying, scared, worried. The justification the police give for coming and visiting him, they asked him questions. Would you kill for your ideology? He has said nothing extreme, nothing wrong and nothing non-factual. But the police are visiting him. There's another man up in Burnley up north as well who this has happened to.
So you question people who would kill for their ideology, and then you get asked if you would kill for your ideology.
The reason the police gave for visiting him is because they didn't like his opinions on Islam. This is currently what our country's facing. When you hear statistics and they say that 30% of all prevent strategy is now non-Muslims, that's not and again, visits from counter-terrorism. For telling the truth, for identifying facts. I had a 14-year-old boy in the north of England who had a mental breakdown because of the visits from Prevent, because he said that Islam was a fascist, violent ideology. These scare tactics, and I'll tell you what, it works. I'm in a group message with this young lad, and there's loads of young lads who are representatives of different football clubs in the country, who are youth, who are 16 to 18 years old. So one boy tells the truth about Islam at Speaker's Corner, and then everyone else sees that counter-terrorism have visited him. That has a knock-on effect. People become scared. People are terrified to identify and speak openly and honestly. We've just seen that my Twitter account was removed for hate. The hate, one of the things that they suspended me for, I said 90% of grooming gang convictions are Muslim men.
It's actually just 84.
That is a fact.
It's 84.
That is not hate.
But seriously.
20% of them are called Mohammed.
It's got to be more than that.
But what they removed my Twitter account for was for saying Islam promotes killing people. It does. 100 verses in the Quran incite them to kill. Again, it was a fact. Now, when you see the news reports, it's where we can't be fooled. Our government, there's been 10,000...
Hang on, pause that for a second. I hate to interrupt, Tommy, but seriously, this thought just came to me. It really bothers me that you can be censored for quoting the Quran and saying that the Quran incites killing. You could quote the actual verses, and you're not allowed to say that. And yet they will defend the religion that actually says it. It does not make any sense. Why are they allowed to abide by, follow, learn from, and exemplify this religion? And you know what? Fine. Like, I could even go that far, let them whatever, and then punish them once they've actually completed an illegal act. All right, we could go, I can at least go that far a little bit. But to censor and say you can't be on Twitter or they might throw you in jail for saying facts that are bad. It is really bad that
for years and years people have created videos against Christianity.
Yeah, but you can't even pull out anything in Christianity that would be questionable. You know what I mean? Like Judaism, you can go back to the Old Testament and sure, there's stonings, you could kind of call that out. I'm with you, fine. But in Christianity, there's nothing.
Right.
Closed at the request of government for hate. There's been 140 Twitter accounts closed for terrorism. Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account. Hezbollah are a prescribed terrorist organisation. They have a Twitter account.
Hezbollah.
So this is not about rules or regulations or breaking any of their rules. This is about silencing and stopping. Silencing people like me. Milo had his Twitter account closed. Sargon had his Twitter account closed. Where we're heading in a few years' time, Facebook, YouTube will all remove our views.
They're trying to wipe it off. That's the only way they know how to stop this movement because the truth spreads like a virus.
Yeah.
If we're to do anything about it, and it has to be shown, there's a video of Yvette Cooper, a Labour politician. She's sitting down with the CEOs of YouTube talking about why my videos are being promoted. This is government interference with private companies to remove certain people's views, which is fascism.
Amazing. It is fascism. They call us the fascists.
Now Twitter are a private company, so they can remove you if they want. What I want to do is I want to take Twitter to court. I'm going to take them to court for discrimination against my physiological beliefs, my deep held beliefs. And I won't get my Twitter account back, but what we'll be able to prove, which needs proving, we need to prove what hate is. We need to prove that facts are now seen as hate. The government are pushing this agenda with private companies.
It reminds me of the left wanting the statues removed, you know,
I'm triggered about my Twitter
whatever here.
I
It's
delete my
history.
life to
It's a
concentrate
fact.
on Twitter.
It's
We all
easy.
will be there. That's what
It's easy to get angry when you think about all these people being taken off Twitter and us being censored on YouTube. It's easy to get angry. However, you're here. And people showed up there. The message got out, even with Milo's Twitter account being shut down, even with Tommy's Twitter account being shut down, even with all the censorship. The people, there's a groundswell, and it's kind of like, well, I'll get your message out. 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 We're getting their message out.
Yeah.
Look at that, right? So it's hitting all these other people no matter what.
It's like a swarm of bees. I mean, they try to catch this big swarm, but you're still going to lose. You know what I mean? Or trying to like catch water in a basket.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to work. They will lose.
people need to understand.
What the only thing that is happening with the censorship is that it's making the rest of us dig our heels in and say, well, we're going to find a way around it. We're going to find a way around it. You know? Yeah.
This is the start. Everyone will be removed. All our views will be removed. On the other hand, you have Muslim organisations, you have terrorist groups, you have far left radical groups who aren't being censored. It's certain political opinions are being censored. Also, I've been standing here in the shade. You must have all been boiling here all day. I want to thank you all for your patience as well. I want to do something quickly as well in the middle of the speech. Caden, George, Lucy, you come up here.
So this is this little team, And Lucy actually was like hit.
I'll be honest. You see all this? You see the organisation for all this? The videos. None of this. And the people thanking me, those people coming up saying thank you for the day. I didn't do anything. That's the truth. They done it all.
Little ragtag band.
I love them.
Pretty awesome.
I love it.
If I was the organiser of the event, I said, we're just here to speak out about our children. We had this flag. He told me this flag and our balloons could be offensive to certain people. I said,
so I'm going to see if there's...
Say feel free with your bosses at work. Most people have to hide the fact that they even come to these demonstrations. Right. That's not freedom.
Right.
We should be free to criticise whatever we want.
Right.
We're being lied to, we're being deceived.
Right.
When you go back through British history, you go back through British leaders, you go back through our clergy, our military leaders, our politicians, Sir William Gladstone, Winston Churchill, they always told the truth about Islam. The truth that Islam is a warlike religion. It is fascist, it is violent. Only in the last 30, 40 years are we being fed a lie. You know, the term Islam is a religion of peace. You try and find that in the history books. You won't find
it in the history books, and that is absolutely true.
Term that was brought out after.
Looks like we're stuck. I'm going to see if I can get to the end of his speech here. If not, I think we covered a decent amount of this.
Well, you guys can find this, and I will try to drop links in the descriptions on the various places that I post this.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this Day for Freedom, and there's a lot of reasons why I'm excited about it, but I think that the biggest one is this. You've got, the title is Jordan Peterson and anti-communist groups slam the EU boss for Marx statue. Now, when I see this, all I want to do is hurl. We have brought to you the teachings of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. And well, first of all, just so you know a little bit about Karl Marx as a human being, he was a lowlife. He was a deadbeat. He wrote articles so that he didn't have to work. His children starved. 3 of his children starved to death. They starved to death.
But Leah, don't you think that's why
the rest of his kids
communism, because he wanted other people to feed his children? Like, he probably used their death as a flag. Like, see, if we had implemented my ideals, my children would not have died, and this is all at your hands, society.
And the rest of his kids committed suicide. All of his kids died. Let's just put it that way. His kids died. They committed suicide. They all died.
You shall know them by their fruit.
He fathered a son with his maidservant and denied it.
Oops.
And when the son came to visit his mom, who was still the maidservant, he had to go in through the back door and not be seen. It was a real thing. His wife...
How do you have maidservants and your kids start?
Well, here's the thing. He ended up getting money because his wife came into some money later on. So then he gets a servant, right?
Okay.
And because he believed that women should work outside of the home, and so you should actually hire people to do domestic work. Okay. Really weird. Like, his whole theories were all just all over the board.
And as you pointed out today, not on the show, but to us and some of our friends, that these
10 points of the Communist Manifesto
have already been implemented in our society.
Yeah, I'm going to go over those. I'm going to go over those because I guess Karl Marx had his 200-year anniversary of his Communist Manifesto, of the Communist Manifesto's author's birth. And the president of the European Commission marked the anniversary by opening a series of exhibitions
you got it,
honoring his memory in Trier, and claimed he was not responsible for the actions of the blood-soaked figures of Vladimir Lenin, Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, Pol Pot, Fidel Castro, and the Qing dynasty, even though they used his ideology to kill millions of people. Communism hasn't been done right yet. Jordan Peterson, who frequently speaks out against communist ideology and promotes the Gulag Arpeggio. That's Alexander I can't say it. His classic memoir of life in the Soviet Union and its oppressive labor camps, tweeted that Juncker's actions were shameful and appalling, and linked his thousands of followers to an open letter which had objected to the Eurocrats' participation in the celebrations. And this is an open letter that says, let me see. I'll just start over. Start at the beginning. EU chief Jean-Claude Juncker defies protest to deliver heartfelt defense of Karl Marx. Like, here he is. I'm not even kidding you. Like, 1818 to 2018. Karl Marx. Yay! Delivering an impassioned defense of Karl Marx's legacy, EU boss Jean-Claude Juncker argued the radicals should not be judged for communist atrocities that took place in his name. The president of the European Commission defied protest to deliver his speech at an event commemorating the 200... I can't understand this. Like, seriously, this is where my brain literally says, that's a sentence that doesn't compute. Like, I can't say the sentence, celebrating Karl Marx. Like, that sentence doesn't come out of my mouth, like, ever.
Like celebrating eating poo.
Here's the thing. Speaking at a church in the city. See, you don't say, speaking at a church, devout atheist, why are you in a stinking church? It's like, seriously, Karl Marx was a philosopher who thought into the future, had creative aspirations, and today he stands for things for which he is not responsible and for which he didn't cause, because many of the things he wrote down were redrafted into the opposite. One has to understand Karl Marx from the contents of his time and not have prejudice based on the review. During the event where he unveiled a statue donated by China. Okay, whoa. Can I just step back? I'm going to step back. Okay. So, China, who became communist because of Mao and killed a bunch of people, created a statue that he unveiled. That Karl Marx isn't responsible for the people that they killed, but the people, the country that killed a bunch of people and still keeps people under a huge amount of oppression, by the way. They've gone whole 21st century. They track you with like hundreds of thousands of cameras. They track everything about you, right?
No,
and you've got
true.
a number
Yeah.
to where, like, if your number isn't high enough, you can't get on an airplane. You
It's
can't
a credit
travel.
score of life based on Big Brother following your every move. Like, I think if you have a bowel movement at the wrong time of the day,
Yes.
your credit score goes down.
Totally. Jaywalking is the thing. Like, your little credit score goes down for jaywalking. You can't get on the train. There's millions of people on this credit score. People are so confined in this communist country that they're like, and he takes a statue from China, which is a huge human rights violator. Seriously. This is what a lie looks like. If you ever wanted to know. And this is what my angry eyes look like. Hi. Oh, and he was there today, so we want to hear from Britt a little bit.
All right. Yeah, so Britt says, hi, girls. Hi, people. I'm on my way back home shortly, but I've just come up from the Tube Network and at Liverpool Street main line station at the moment after going to the Freedom March in Whitehall, London. Well done, Britt Baza.
Tell us in the chat, go and tell people what the size was like, what the atmosphere was like, and how you felt.
If you can. If not, we can always wait until later.
Right. Okay, so his speech, which was briefly interrupted by an anti-communist protest, came in the face of pleas from politicians around the world to boycott the event, which critics argue represented a whitewashing of the most destructive ideology in human history. Poland Daily, the president of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, has decided to attend the 200-year anniversary of the birth of Karl Marx. This decision is a slap in the face to almost 100 million EU citizens who were forced to live under communist occupation after 1945.
That years of drinking have clouded his thinking. That rhymed. It wasn't supposed to.
Years of drinking have clouded your thinking, Jean-Claude Juncker.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. So actually, members of the U.S. Congress actually urged the top bureaucrat not to honor Karl Marx in any way, asserting that with a death toll more than 100 million, Marxism is a toxic ideology that has led to mass death, torture, and enslavement wherever it has been applied. Marxist defenders often say he cannot be held accountable for what communist regimes did long after his death, but Marxist dictators who massacred their own people were applying the communist ideology to political practice. They put China's trying to put up Karl Marx statues all over the world. He is their god. Okay? Violence and Marxism go hand in hand, said Chris Smith, for a House representative, pointing to examples including Marx's praise for revolutionary terror as the only method that can shorten the murderous death agonies of the old society and the bloody birth throes of the new society. The letter concludes with a plea to Juncker not to honor Karl Marx in any way, rather to speak the truth about this man's, whose writing and deed called for the tyranny and murder that have been and continue to be committed in his name. And then you had Hungary come out. Hungary's prime minister says the EU and many in the West are still making excuses for the crimes of communism. Tory MP Daniel, can't pronounce it, who fled Soviet-ruled Poland with his family when he was a child, added his voice. Remember that Marxism was all about ripping power and individual means away from people and giving it to the state. So I'm going to bring up this article from, it's actually not from Zero Hedge, took it.
You find that. Britt Baza says, the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant. There was Antifa, but they were kettles by the police, and I didn't experience any animosity at all. It was brilliant. I've got some good videos, which I will Facebook you. Thank you, Britt. We will look forward to watching those.
So I shared this article. Actually, I felt like it was so powerful that I actually shared it with my friends that don't really follow our channel. They're farming, so they don't really have access to internet even all the time. But I did share this article with them. Plenty of stupid ideas kill people, but this man's stupid ideas have killed more than 100 million people. He says, keep people from their history and they are easily controlled. That's Karl Marx. Quote right there, baby. Karl Marx was born 200 years ago, and despite the utter failure of his communist philosophy in practice, the cult lives on. So here's the thing. It is a cult. So this cult that he created, he did create the cult. So the practitioners of this cult, even though he's gone, are implementing his ideas. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Here's the thing. You don't really hear so much about Friedrich Engels, and the reason why is because while they both had the same crazy ideas, Friedrich Engels is seen as the crazier one,
and I think he is.
So that's why, like, growing up, I never heard about Friedrich Engels. I didn't hear about him in school.
Hushed because they don't want you to know just how cray-cray these ideas are. But Karl Marx had the same ideas. He just didn't voice them to the way that Engels did.
The book that Friedrich Engels published right after Karl Marx died, he said this was Karl Marx and these are our ideas, and they wanted to abolish the family, have crazy weird sex lives and sex parties, and have women just have sex with everybody, and men don't have to have any sort of responsibility. They wanted and they wrote a book where they went to like the matriarchy. When you see matriarchy and going back to the matriarchy, what that means is that men don't have to have responsibility. These are two of the most deadbeat men on the face of the planet. They are wicked, they are evil, they were selfish, they were self-centered, they were narcissistic, and they cared for no one but themselves, which is what the communist ideology is all about. In the name of helping other people, all they do is care about themselves.
Well, and I think ultimately the most important thing to cover is that they were lazy.
Right.
That's what communism is. It is for the lazy person under the guise of we want to help other people who can't work and can't do things. No, you're lazy and you're a thief.
Yeah, here's the thing. What they wanted to do and what they did do and why communism has always failed is they teach people you don't really have to work very much. And so it's like you go into the pantry and you steal and you eat all the stuff and then it's all gone. And that's what you do when you rob from the rich. If you don't keep working, then it's all gone. That's why communism starves people. So I want to go over a couple of these points here. In America, the goals of the communists have crept their way into society, and this has happened because of the Federal Reserve. I get in arguments all the time with people or disagreements. We post a lot on Facebook against the Federal Reserve and against the paper dollar. People love that paper dollar, unfortunately. Don't understand the basis of that paper dollar starting the creature of Jekyll Isle, 1906, 1907, 1908, all the way into 1912, 1913, when we had the Federal Reserve and the income tax implemented, and then we got off the gold standards, and all of that does. I want to make this really clear so you can kind of understand what happens. If I have a strong drink in here, let's say I have grape juice in here. If I keep pouring water in it, it waters it down. It waters down. It's the best analogy I can give you. So for 200 years, people were drinking grape juice. It was great. They loved it, right? And so, like a fish in boiling water, with the implementation of the Federal Reserve, put a little bit in there. That still tastes good. You put a little bit in there. You pour a little bit. And people,
if you have a swimming pool of water, and you have this much grape juice in it, do you have grape juice anymore? No. Exactly. You don't. You have water.
Right.
You have water that doesn't even flavor. There is no hint of grape juice left. There is nothing. So and we started out with that glass of grape juice.
Right. For 200 years.
And now you have a swimming pool of water.
If you had $1, you had $1 the next day. You had $1 the next day. You had $1 the next day. Imagine somebody coming into your house, and you've got $100, and every day somebody comes and takes 50 cents. There's nothing you can do about it. They take another 50 cents. They take another. There's nothing you can do about it. And you might bring in another $100. Well, then they start taking $1. And they start taking away, and it's like it drips away, and they have diluted. They have convinced us through public education. That's what this article talks about at the very end. The only way to get this Communist Manifesto implemented in American policy is through the public education system, where you were taught in school that inflation is necessary and unavoidable. But if it's necessary and unavoidable, how did we have $1 that didn't change value for 200 years?
Right. Well, and it is, though, Leah, it is necessary and it is unavoidable in the society of I want what I want and I want it now. Right. I want a house now. I want a car now. I want my computer now. I want everything that I want and I want it now. Americans live more lavishly in as poor people than anyone around the world, and it is because we keep printing fake dollars. It is impossible to have the lifestyle that we want in America without the paper dollar that has been watered down. And so that's where Leah and I differ from other libertarians, even in our movement, that want to do Bitcoin or, something like that. We're trying to tell you that living this society of self-gratification, it's actually a fallacy. You can't have it. It is built on the backs of slavery.
Good news is a system, I don't know when, I can't tell you when, but it will crash. Right. It will literally come and it will crash. You can't keep this going
So
forever.
Why are we talking about this? It goes with Karl Marx. It goes with Marxism and communism. These are the kinds of things that have been implemented in our society, again, on the backs of slaves.
The graduated income tax, the central state-controlled bank, like the Federal Reserve, are actually tenets of the Communist Manifesto.
Right.
They are literal tenets of the Communist Manifesto. All right, so I'm going to bring Patriot Gallery, because this is
You'll have to make it short, though, because we are on a tight schedule. We have doggies that have to be let out, and we have a lot more news to cover.
I just want to let you know that it's not a bad thing not to have everything you want. What you get is love for fathers, love for mothers, love for children. You're going to spend time with them all the time. You're going to have real love.
You're going to value the things that you should value.
When you grow your own food, it means so much more. When you have to wait for things, they mean so much more. Right now, we're empty inside. It's superficial.
There is no fulfillment in society.
We have worthless lives having all this stuff. Our lives are worthless.
Yeah.
Right.
But when you value things and you have a small amount, you value it so much more. Your mind grows.
Right.
Your mind is so stupefied because you have to go to work, you have to do this, have to do this, have to do this. You don't have time to relax and enjoy the roses and enjoy life. Nobody enjoys their life when they have everything.
Right.
You can't enjoy a rose, you can't enjoy a flower, you can't enjoy a child being born, you can't enjoy their lives.
Right.
Because you're on such a hurry.
We have
you get a slower life. That's what we had before all this money. Nice, slow, and we had peace and quiet.
Right.
And you don't understand how bad this is on your nerves.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying, everybody's sick. I told somebody the other day, we got millions of children are going to die tomorrow. But he said, well, if we get rid of money, people will suffer. Don't you realize how many people are suffering today because of the money?
Yeah.
How many millions of children
absolutely.
How many people are addicted to drugs? People are suffering because of this money. We got to stop it.
That is really true.
Sorry. Well said, Patriot Gallery.
All right, so
I hope that mic, I don't even know if that mic's on. We might have been going this whole time without the right mic in. We have been. I'm sorry, guys. If the sound has been off today, I need you to speak up. and let me know, because I totally forgot to plug in the mic. I'm really sorry. I can't stand the sound that the webcam picks up. So if today's been bad sound and bad audio, I sincerely apologize. Sorry, guys.
All right, so I'm going to go over these rather quickly. Communist Manifesto number 1. Abolition of all public land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. Now, to me, I have one pet peeve in this world. The thing that gets me, the thing that really gets me more than anything else is property taxes.
Yep.
You don't own your, we say this all the time, we're going to say it as quickly as possible because we need to move on. You don't own your land. With property taxes, it's government. It's government. You have to abolish the property tax because you can't force people to make money. Right. You can't force people to work. And that goes on with the other...
you should be able to live on your plot of land. If you purchased it, you own it outright, and stay there for the rest of your life without ever earning $1. You should never have to pay the government for land. It's the same thing in the United States here. For most of our states, like Oklahoma is not like this, but they don't tax food because people have to have it. You have to have
So it's
land.
Basically it's a rent. We are literally renting our land from the government. The government has 640 million acres, 28% of all land in the United States. The Bureau of Land Management, 248 million acre turf used to control and oppress political descendants like Clive and Bundy. The BLM is also responsible for subsurface mineral resources totaling 700 million acres. It goes on and on and on. So you've got a heavy progressive or graduated income tax. That is part of Karl Marx, the manifesto, and we see that happening. Abolition of all the right of inheritance. We have a hefty tax on inheritances here. Compensation of all property of all immigrants and rebels, meaning if you leave, if you leave the country, they tax you. They tax you on your goods. I'm not even kidding you.
So Britt Baza had said that there was no actual room, that they were packed in like fish. Britt, I'm not sure what number you're trying to get there. He says there were probably at least, I think you want to say 25,000.
Probably.
There, which is huge.
It's huge. Centralization of all credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank. Did you know our founding fathers were against the national bank? The Federal Reserve is not actually federal, but it is. It's a twisted situation. The Feds set the interest rate. They print money, finances much of the debt of the United States government. Without the Fed, it would be much harder for the government to control the people, the homes they buy. Literally, they control all the people.
He says there were 250,000 people there. Wow. I'm not calling you a liar, but that's a huge number if that's true.
Yeah, that's huge.
Massive.
Massive, yeah. That's
awesome,
awesome,
know how
though.
You would function with that many people.
That's just
there.
Amazing. Centralization of the means of communication and transport in the hands of the state. You've got the FCC, the FTC, the Department of Transportation, all these different things. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state and bringing into cultivation of wastelands.
People.
Wow.
Amazing.
And the improvement of the soil generally in accordance with the common plan. So we have the EPA, we have the government controls. Without the government, we would not have had factory farming to begin with. They funded that.
Tish Talk says we still don't know where the $9 trillion is the Federal Reserve lost.
Equal liability of all labor, establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. Yes, the Communist Manifesto proposes enslaving all those unwilling to work. We do see that. The government claims the authority to tax you on everything you earn. Basically means you have a liability to labor for the government if you want to labor at all. We see that with Obamacare and things like that.
I'm going to insert a couple things from Britt as it comes, or else I'll lose them as they go through the chat. So for those of you that missed it, Britt Baza was there today at the Day for Freedom. He says that this doesn't mean anything to me, but it'll mean something to you guys, to you Brits. Whitehall was packed from Trafalgar Square down the whole road.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. The other two, the last one, number 10, is public education. Public education is part of the Communist Manifesto. In order to control the populace, you have to have what people don't understand about education. It's not about reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's about literally indoctrinating you and me into their ideology, and I'm still getting it out of my brain. I still am trying to get it. Inflation is necessary. We have to have inflation. I literally have to tell myself the truth day in and day out on things like that.
It's so true. I'm glad that you picked inflation, because out of all of the lies that I was taught in public school, that is the one that I know the truth of. It's kind of like having a definition in your brain, and you know what it means, but for the longest time you always thought it meant whatever. Mm-hmm. And so whenever you think of that word, first you think of what you always thought it was, and then you're like, no, it means this, whatever that is. When it comes to inflation, I don't know about you guys overseas, but here in America, we were taught that inflation was unstoppable and inflation was necessary, and it was just a course of life. It was just a course of a way of things just got more expensive over time, and they never actually explained why. But you know why they don't explain it? They don't explain it because if you explain why inflation is inflating, why it's happening, then people will question, well, wait a minute.
Right.
This doesn't have to be, and they'll know the truth. And right. I find it really disingenuous of teachers to teach inflation without actually telling children what it is.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm totally with you.
All right, so we have about 20 minutes left. I just want to give you a time check before I have to skedaddle and get out of here.
Okay, so during Juncker's
wait, maybe before you do
speech,
somebody sent me something.
European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker has opened a series of...
Can you pause it? Okay. Now, I don't know if both of these work or not. Now, somebody said, I'm just going to take this here. Simon Blanchard had sent me an email saying that this lady, somehow we got mentioned at the Day for Freedom. I don't know. I may actually have to look this up a little bit first. Leah, does Jonaya follow you? Because we just the introduction there. I may have to look. It's probably this one, and you know what I'll do is I will look into this a little bit more, and see if I can find the spot. But Simon had said that we were mentioned, I think, in her video, which is really interesting. So I just wanted to bring that back to you guys.
How cool is that? How'd she find us?
I'm not really sure. Simon's message just says, it seems Resistance Chicks was mentioned at the London Free Speech event today. And I think that Jonaya should get to know you both and Patriot Gallery. Huh. So I'll have to watch that video, and I can put the link to it in the description.
Simon, if you could find the timestamp, that would be really cool.
Okay, they're telling me it's really loud when I go to a video. I'm sorry, I'll work on it.
Mounted on a pedestal, Marx family of the world, the founder of Marxist political parties.
Oh, I can't even. I guess somebody interrupted him. I was going to try the video, find the video. Thank God for somebody interrupting him. All right. Hungary Prime Minister Victor Orban is getting tougher on immigration. We are building a Christian democracy. After a huge electoral victory that saw his party win a 2/3 supermajority, Hungarian Prime Minister Victor Orban has announced tougher immigration rules and his vision of a Hungary built on a Christian democracy. The Hungarian leader announced his new plans in a radio broadcast on Friday, saying, "We are building a Christian democracy, an old-fashioned Christian democracy whose roots are in the European tradition, where human dignity is essential and where there is a separation of powers. We will defend the Christian culture and we will not give the country to foreigners," he added, and spoke about a proposed constitutional amendment from 2016 to limit mass migration, which failed to pass due to the government not having the required 2/3 majority. "I feel obliged to implement this constitutional amendment now, and I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about what's going on in Hungary. I'm so excited that they're using Christianity to stand up." Now, some negative news, but it's not negative news, right? When we cover the European craziness...
Okay, Barry says he did an interview with her, and that's how we got mentioned, because he mentioned us. Thank you, Barry.
Oh, okay,
you
cool.
kind chap.
That's very neat.
Well done, my friend. Thank you, thank you. So now we've gotten to the bottom of that. See how we can figure stuff out very fast.
That's awesome. Thank you, Barry. We're going to get famous in the UK thanks to Barry.
It's true, though.
You're awesome.
Barry's fantastic.
All right.
Well done.
Well done. So we bring to you this craziness because this is the side that we're all on, that we can say this is crazy, even Sargon Akkad, right? So there's the crazies,
yeah,
and then there's the people who are like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is crazy. So Finland is following Sweden. They ruled that I think it was 23-year-old, a 23-year-old asylum seeker who had sex with a 10-year-old was not raped because she wasn't forced. The unnamed migrant, who was 20 years old at the time of the attacks, was convicted of aggravated sexual abuse of a minor and handed a 3-year sentence, just a light sentence, by a district court, with an additional charge of aggravated rape being thrown out. The decision baffled prosecutors and caused outrage among members of the public, but was upheld by an appeal court, which agreed that there's no evidence to indicate that the sexual encounter involved violence or that the child was overcome by fear or incapacitated in any way. Now, I posted this on my Twitter. So what they're saying is that if you're over 18, 2 adults have a sexual encounter. You have to prove rape, right?
Yeah.
So their threshold for proving rape is that somebody was incapacitated or they were overcome with fear.
Right.
Okay? That makes sense.
Yep.
With 2 adults.
Yep.
Two full-grown human beings.
Yep.
Because people do things and men have been falsely accused of rape when they weren't. Now, a 10-year-old, a sexual act by an adult on a 10-year-old is an act of violence. It does incapacitate a child. If somebody actually isn't even fully developed with ovaries and things like that, how can they consent to a sexual act? I mean, this is just absolutely insane.
Your brain is not fully developed. You cannot conscientiously weigh right and wrong, especially you don't understand what a sexual encounter is.
Right.
You don't know what your purity is in order to give it away.
Right.
If you don't understand it, then you can't willfully give it away, and it is 100%
Fortunately, praise God, there was a sane person in Finland, Kari Tolvanen, MP, who chairs the law committee on Finnish parliament, who would introduce a harsher sentence for sexual offenses against children. In my view, that is fully justified. For example, in light of a child's vulnerability, even if the act doesn't meet the threshold for rape. I was saying you need to have something else that's totally different. Aside, you have adult rape laws, and then you have child laws. Child laws are completely different, and you have a much harsher sentence.
All right, dude, you don't want to call it rape, that's fine, but whatever you did is going to get a lot more punishment than actually raping a woman.
Exactly.
So what says I have solutions for that rapist? I do too.
Me too. I agree wholeheartedly with that solution, by the way. In Sweden, criminals used 43 grenades in 2017. Because grenades aren't illegal. This is hilarious to me in Sweden. 43 crimes.
You can have guns, but you can have
grenade used rose in Sweden. I'm not going to really cover that too much more. Over 20,000 migrants in the first 122 days in 2018. 20,000. They're being ferried over. I mean, this is a really big deal. That's why we cover this, because this is absolutely insane.
But hang on a second, because we could throw aside the religion that shall not be named. We could throw aside that they're all young males.
Right.
Fine, let's get rid of that altogether.
Okay.
Let's look at this economically, Sweden. They come over and they get free everything. Okay?
Right.
They just do. Economically, your little country, which it is little, Sweden, and we're Swedish, it cannot handle 20,000 new people coming in all of the time. You just cannot withstand it. Because they're not going to ever get jobs. And they are going to just keep living off of the government.
178,721 in 2017. Those are the people that they can count. Wow. Absolutely insane. This is Jean-Claude Juncker. This is the communism as you see it.
But communism fails because if everybody is living off of the government and nobody is actually working to create things,
right,
society collapses.
In Paris, France, they have a communist party, and the Communist Party councillors elected to the Council of Paris have demanded that part of the Bois de Boulogne Park be allocated for asylum seekers to just camp. He's so cute.
We're pet sitting for 2 little beagles.
So they want to take a park in Paris and turn it into this migrant camp. And I got to tell you, dirty, yucky, ew, it's going to be disgusting. Do you guys remember when Trump had it on his speech and we showed you where he's talking about London and knife crimes and stuff like that? A London hospital admits that Trump is right on knife crime epidemic but disagrees with Second Amendment stance. The hospital in Sadiq Khan's London, from which the U.S. President Trump described as a war zone following the wave of violent knife attacks, has issued a statement. You can give him a treat if you want. You're going to show him Stewie. He is so cute, by the way. Stewie, come and say hi. This is one of our little buddies.
This is Stuart.
That's Stewie.
Doesn't he look like a Stuart?
He does, and he acts like one too. You know, he gets out and runs away. Remember when we were going live last year in the summer?
Oh, I wonder if you guys remember that.
This guy. He's so cute. He's so adorable, and he's so friendly.
I got an ear lick out of that one.
Right?
Thanks, buddy.
Buddy, you want to come say hi? Come here, buddy.
You can't get this kind of stuff anywhere else.
They're buddies.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Everybody down.
Everybody down. All right. So, knife violence is a serious issue for London, said Professor Karim Broey, trauma surgeon at the Royal Hospital. We are proud of the excellent trauma care we provide and for our violence reduction programs. He says the Royal London Hospital has cut the number of our young patients returning after future knife attacks from 45% to 1%. So we're really good at healing these guys. We're really good. We've learned, okay, so this is where the knife goes and this is how we sew it up. Man, we're good at this stuff.
We're good with knives too in that general vicinity. We just did pig castrations.
However, the government employee took the slightly unusual step of following up his admission with a critique of President Trump. He says, there is more we can all do to combat this violence, but to just guns are part of the solution is ridiculous. And he says gunshot wounds are twice as lethal. So I'd rather deal with the knives. Sweden to spend millions for migrant sexual education.
Hang on. Migrants like adult migrants, and they need sex education, and I'm sure you're going to tell us why.
On sexual rights and sexual health. The program is primarily aimed at newly arrived female asylum seekers, but also at men to teach them the sexual and reproductive rights they have in Sweden, as well as sexual norms. Describing the need for the program as extremely urgent. We find that some of the women in this group of new arrivals come from communities where there are completely different norms, laws, and regulations. This project gives this group of women better opportunities to gain knowledge about the sexual reproductive rights in Sweden.
You know what? I got problems with that. You want to know why I got problems with that? Because in Sweden, these migrants come, and Sweden wants to say, oh, it doesn't matter what you believe before. You can bring your beliefs over here. We respect your beliefs, right? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you can bring in, your marrying of the 10-year-olds, whatever you want to bring in, Sweden to open arms. And yet somehow, because they're these feminazis, they feel it is pertinent to take away from the Muslims their the way they do things sexually, the way their marriages work, women's rights, things like that. For some reason, it seems like in part these feminists in Sweden can't quite let go. I'm like, listen, if you see something wrong with the way that the interactions between male and female happen in Muslim families and societies, then doesn't that kind of give you a hint that there may be something wrong with everything else?
So, yeah, and Sweden previously has allowed these older men who married children to live with them and crazy things like that.
Bertha Look said I sounded Indian.
It's funny. So
I think it was better than Indian.
Wales gets its first FGM, female genital mutilation clinic to help people who have undergone it. Now, what that shows is that there's a significant amount of people who are coming
because you're not going to develop a clinic unless there is a real
huge need.
Wow.
Wales is the second smallest of the home nations, which make up the United Kingdom, with a population of only about 3 million and a relatively low-level immigration compared to neighboring England, which already has 5 female genital mutilation clinics.
What?
Nevertheless, figures obtained by the BBC show maternity staff in Wales were discovering that new FGM case 1 every 3 days on average.
What?
In 2016, and the Welsh Women's Aid estimated there are at least 2,000 victims in their country. And of course, bringing in people from other countries and then realizing, wow, something went wrong here.
5 clinics. I would be upset at 5 cases. Okay? Like 5 cases. To me,
there's about 137,000.
What if somebody chopped off somebody's hands?
Right.
We would hear about that. We would hear if their hands were gone. If this religion that shall not be named took a lot of the females and just chopped off their hands and they were walking around with no hands, there would be more of an uproar. But they keep it so hush hush. Oh my gosh, I am getting a little bit angry.
Yeah, so we covered the fight for freedom today, and you know, I could go into Karl Marx, but I don't want to. He makes me sick. I could go. I'd rather celebrate what's happening rather than to get angry about Jean-Claude Juncker. I feel like what he did was awesome, because he's just, what they're doing is they have literally taken off their mask and they said, yes, we are communists. So every time these people come out and do crazy things like that, they're not hiding anymore, which makes it so much easier to call them out, which brings together, and this is why I want to sing this song, it brings together so many people who can see the truth. People who anyone who thinks that Karl Marx had any good ideas or looks at his life and reads the deadbeat, just idiot that he was, and thinks that he's some sort of para and sage is insane. Like, seriously insane. And so you literally have, and I'm not about dividing, your groups, right? Sane people, insane people. That's it. I mean, it's so simple.
Well, I think it's evil versus not evil.
Okay.
But, because some people we have, you know, we're not sane. I would say. They always say that you can't, if you can question your sanity, then you actually are sane. So, I also wonder, Leah, if you can't bring over those 2 hats.
Oh, yeah.
For the past 3 days, I think, Yorkshire has had the Tour de Yorkshire, which is like the Tour de France. And Horatio has been addicted to it. He's been sending me things. Then also, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we had the Kentucky Derby.
Was Derby Day, and Chris Holman had sent us. I'm not sure. I can't even see mine.
You look good.
Is that
it looks
proper?
Good. Oh, it looks so good.
Had sent us these hats for Leah's birthday. I actually had every intention of doing the entire episode in the hats, but I don't know how well that would have worked with the TV behind us.
Right.
Your tag is still there.
My tag is still on.
But I did think that it was worth at least putting them on.
It takes a minute to get these hats just right.
And then you would almost need like a hat pin, but I think we've got it. I think it's working.
I have a flower here, so
I think it's fantastic. All right, so Britt Baza went today. We're gonna get some footage from him. Maybe we'll do a little special thing tomorrow. I don't know. We could even do it tonight. We'll see. I may just leave this stuff set up. No, I gotta clean the carpet. But maybe tomorrow we will. Are you going to try and play with the hat on?
I don't know.
She's going to give it a go. That's good.
All right. So this song has been on my heart for.
I'm gonna adjust the camera here.
For a couple days, and I don't know if you've got a pic over there or not.
I do.
Cool. It's called "We Will Break Dividing Walls," and great thing for Christians or non-Christians.
Look how cute you look.
I love this hat, Chris. By the way, it's really fun. I need a place to wear it. I didn't go to the Kentucky Derby yesterday. It was hilarious.
I love that you said it so far in advance. It was a birthday present.
I have to tell you, what was hilarious about the Kentucky Derby yesterday. like super rich people like Tom Brady and all these people show up, right?
Yeah.
It rains stinking all day.
I know.
They're muddy. Their hair is matted, and to me, I was just laughing at all these rich soaked people because their makeup fell off, their hair fell, and I was
makeup runs.
Now you look like me, because these people doll it up. I mean, like they look pretty fancy.
Oh yeah.
They look normal people. They had to wear rubber boots. Right. A lot of them had rubber boots. I was actually pretty proud. Oh my gosh, she's gonna put a knife near my head.
I'm not.
Yep.
No.
Sadiq Khan, right? Every time I get out a knife and use it, or I think of him now, because he said, "When would you ever? There's no reason to carry a knife." I open up boxes,
you might have a tag on your.
Tags,
there's more to this hat.
I open up bags. There's like so many things that I need a knife for every day. I could carry around some scissors, but a knife is easier. It's called a pocket knife for a reason.
When I'm working around the farm. Leah went on a run last night to a pet visit.
And I took
her knife. Right.
So we will break dividing walls. And I love this song. Christians and non-Christians alike. We got to come together on the things that we agree on and not on the things we don't agree on. Right?
Right.
walls, we will break dividing walls, and we will be one. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls in the name of your Son. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, and we will be one. Commanding blessings, where brother and unity dwell, a place where anointing oil is flowing, where we live as one. You have called us to be a body, you have called us as friends, joined together in the bond of the Spirit. To the end. Father, we join in the prayer of Jesus. As you are, so let us be one. Join together in the unity and purpose, all for the love of your Son. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, we'll break dividing walls in of your Son. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, and we will be one. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls in the name of your Son. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, and we will be one. Walls, we will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls in the name of your Son. We will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, and we will be one. The hat's still on.
It is still on. The hat is still on. I'm so glad that you picked that song for today, because I think that the Day for Freedom
is
all about
breaking dividing walls
and joining together in unity to fight the common enemy that would silence us. I wish we had started out our episode with our own duct tape on our mouths, but I didn't think of that until after the fact. But seriously, we have been censored. Many of you that follow us have channels, and you have been censored. You've been censored on your Facebook. You've been censored on your Twitter. You've been censored in life by your coworkers and your family for maybe voting for Donald Trump. Whatever it is, this censorship in society has to stop. Yeah. Again, I may not agree with what you say, but I do agree with your right to say it. I don't know if Patriot Hour is going to get
In the name of your Son, we will break dividing walls. We will break dividing walls, and we will be one.
All right, you guys, I want to thank our moderators who were here. Now that So What has a wrench, you never know what's going to happen. Totally kidding. He's been dropping the link to our website throughout with every comment that he leaves. Thank you very much for that, Jorg. I really appreciate it. Tracy, Kelly, Maia. Gary wasn't here today. A lot of people are worried about him. Wortha, Britt Baza, who went to Trafalgar Square and went to Whitehall today, which I'm looking forward to seeing the stuff that he has come up with for us. So I want to thank you all for being here. I think Sean was here earlier too, and then of course Patriot Gallery under the Resistance Chicks wrench there. Thank you all. Listen, if you had something worth saying, please leave it in the comment section afterwards. We want to hear what you have to say, and that's when Leah and I can sit down and actually go through the comments and see what you guys have had to say, because we don't go back and watch the whole show and watch the live chat back. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the heck out of these videos that we do. We want to get the message of truth out there. We have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. You can send us your letters and we will read them on air. As a matter of fact, I got an email the other day. Let me see if I can find it here. All right. Hi, Lee and Michelle. I am right in the middle of your latest video. I have enjoyed you two for about 9 months or so. You two are so adorable. I sometimes don't want you to know of the evils that are going on in this world, but you are reporting on worldwide wickedness. I love your upbeat attitude and those smiles. For demographic purposes, I am nearly 65 years old, and I'm American. I have been in China for almost 5 years. I have not been in the States for half a decade, but I will be returning in a week. Okay, I'll get back to Blessed Assurance. He must have been watching a video. So thank you. That was from Tim. So I want to be able to read your letters, whether it's critique, whether it's a little bit about your history, your past that you think that is relevant. We would love to read them on air. So please feel free to use that P.O. Box to send us your letters. We do have a website, resistancechicks.com. Very easy. You can find every episode that we do uploaded there, plus extra things that I will find, like maybe Britt Baza's videos. I'll probably take those, put them together in an article, and you guys can watch them there.
Oh, perfect.
So, all right, we're going to sign off here. We go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our European and UK news. We will see you back probably earlier this week than Friday. Sometimes we do a Tuesday or Wednesday show. So, all right, we love you guys. God loves you. God bless. And remember, it's not
just a conspiracy theory
if it's the truth. All right, you guys, be blessed this Sunday.
Break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls, we will break dividing walls.